Welcome to Lorehammer, a beginner's guide to 40k. This is our introductory episode. Enjoy.
Welcome to a beginner's guide of 40k lore, history, stories, anything that's in the universe. My name is Eric.
And I'm Mark.
And I'm Jordan.
And, this is our first kind of an introduction episode, but we're going to explain a little about what we do. So I guess I'll start the reason for this podcast right before anything is that we want to introduce Warhammer lore and stories in a way that is really easy to step into. It can be kind of daunting. There's a lot of literature out there. There's a lot of sources. If you haven't bothered to step in, it can be kind of overwhelming, I guess.
Yeah, so just as they're jumping from 7th to 8th and making everything simpler for people to get into the hobby, we're hoping that we can also help do that for people. Just more on the lore side of things as opposed to the game.
I think let's tell you a little bit about ourselves before. We're not just, I am just some random guy, but that's fine. Mark, what drew you into the hobby, and then why did you stay in it?
What drew me in is definitely the miniatures. Like, I started when I was, I think I was 15 or whatever, so the miniatures were definitely cool, and that's what drew me in.
Yeah.
It was the next logical step from playing with Lego to playing with a man's toy.
So then you've been doing it for like 10 years.
10 plus years, yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot of money in miniatures.
No. If it's on the Visa card, you don't have to pay for it.
Exactly.
Then you don't worry about it.
The bank's got this one.
Yeah.
Yeah. For me, it was kind of just a thing to do. You're totally right. It is the next step up. Like, you play with Legos, you play with like the Connects or whatever, and then someone introduces you to the miniatures, and you pick it up, and you're like, sweet, this has skulls and guns, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah, what's not to like about violence?
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah. That was like, the time sink was actually what got me into it, but then when I realized there's like a world around it, and it's like probably the most developed world I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's definitely up there.
Which is
with the other big ones.
Yeah, because it's so cool because there's so much to learn. Yeah. Right. There's always another page to turn. Yeah. And it's new. Yeah. Jordan, what about you?
I've known about 40k for a long time. Definitely, I've always been really fascinated with the artwork of it, and
they have some crazy good pictures for sure.
Yeah, well, even just going to the Games Workshop, it's like you look at some of the models they have, and it's just, I could just look at them for hours, and then I've sort of on and off played the game, and I'm not like I've been invested as much as other people, but I'm learning, and it's a really fascinating world that I want to get more immersed into.
Yeah. So one of the neat things about our podcast host dynamics is going to be, we got 3 very different levels of interest in the hobby. Where me, if I'm on my phone, chances are good I'm looking at Warhammer. I've been in it for over 10 years, and it's just probably the biggest part of my life, sadly to say. And
not like you're married or anything.
Well, so. You can only spend so much time with a girl before you need to go hang out at a garage with 8 dudes, Yeah. So
a text from Mark is 75% chance it's a Warhammer picture.
And if it's not Warhammer, it's one of my cats.
It's a cat, yeah.
So that's, I guess... No, sorry. One of my wife's cats. I already look bad enough. We're going to pass the cats on to the wife. Yeah, so we got me, who's really into it. Then we got Eric, who's kind of the next level. He's been doing it for a while, but he knows a lot about this stuff, but he's not just always sinking his time into it.
Yeah, I'm not really delving into like the fan theories like Mark is, so.
Yeah. And then we got Jordan, who's always liked it, and he thinks he's cool. It's cool, and
He also thinks he's cool.
he does.
I am pretty cool.
And yeah, he's gonna kind of take that more beginner's approach, where I might gloss over sections that I think is just common knowledge to everyone, but then he can chime in and hopefully be the voice to you people out there who are listening who want me to expand further on things. So I think we gonna have a pretty unique dynamic here.
Yeah, for sure. Jordan, what was your favorite army to play when you were picking stuff up?
Or even not just to play, even just to look at or whatever.
Since you were so enthralled by the artwork.
I think I've always been fascinated by Tyranids and the way they look.
Yeah.
And also, like, anything Chaos Demon is always interesting to look at.
Oh boy.
I know it's the more grotesque versions of Lorehammer, but and then like what is it? The Knights Templar, like the Space
The Black
Marines.
Templar?
Yeah, the Black Templar.
Yeah.
And like there's some really awesome looking Space Marines that people have made. So
Yeah.
That's kind of been my big one.
I actually Black Templar was the first army I ever did. Back when I was gluing bolt pistols that were chained onto just regular guys. So yeah, the Black Templar I like. That's kind of cool. Everyone loves. Well, maybe not everyone, but
everybody.
Everybody loves the Crusades.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
The asphalt. So
Yeah. No, it's a completely blameless time in our history. Like, it's fantastic. No, I really like the Black Templar. But it kind of morphed into like the Necron. Like that was like a huge part for me. Was I loved the Necron.
So going from trying to save people's souls in a crusade to having no soul yourself.
Yeah. Well, it's at some point you just need to take away all responsibility and say a star god made you do it. Mark, what's your favorite army?
Imperial Knights. And it's just their lore is just so good, and I've made my own like house lore and tweaked it slightly and made my own spin to it. But yeah, definitely Imperial Knights is my favorite part of it.
Yeah, that's and it like I like the Imperial Knights, but it's so like come on.
What?
Like,
what's wrong with 50-foot knights
like
running around with giant chains?
Dreadnoughts. They need something bigger.
Yeah, honestly, it's not even like the size and the scale of them, although that is awesome. I just like the lore. Like I love knights and like in our history and stuff, and it's just knights in 40K. So
right.
Yeah.
What's not to like? Really?
Yeah, exactly.
I guess that kind of covered like your favorite part of the lore. Like my favorite part of the lore is like I love origins.
Yeah.
Like I love anything to do with like how did like the Eye of Terror actually happen and like what was like the beginning of everything. What's the origin story of say the Tyranids or like the Horus Heresy? How did it all start? Like I love that. Like I'm okay with like the like what's happening currently and everything, but I love origin stories.
Yeah,
that's like
there's definitely something to say about that for sure. And Games Workshop has really done a great job of like fleshing out their backstories for all their races. And that's definitely going to be one of the big things that we're going to be talking about for sure.
Yeah, I think when you're starting out, I actually really like origin stories as well. And when you're trying to get into something, you always look for how it all began. Like I find in like any kind of fiction that I'm getting into, I want to start from the very beginning.
Yeah.
I don't want to start in the middle. And that can be sometimes a problem with 40Ks. It seems like you're starting like somewhere and there's
someone's like this new thing came out, but you need to read 40 books before you get into it.
Yeah. Even if like you just start with like this is the Imperium of Man. Like that's not the beginning. Like like there's races that have been around millennia before the Imperium Man, even before humanity crawled out of the ocean. So
totally.
Yeah,
so it's
and that's primarily like that's what we're gonna cover. We're gonna cover as much about like our history of like the universe as we possibly can.
Yeah.
So there's a couple things that this podcast is really gonna like have in it. Well, we're gonna try and do bi-weekly. So every 2 weeks we want to give a new podcast about a new topic that we kind of delve into and really try and explain easily. And that's mostly going to be pertaining to lore. Yeah. Not really going to go over strategy or like...
Yeah, no, this is not the podcast you want to listen to if you're looking for some hard dice crunching statistics.
Yeah. Not that we can't.
No, I can...
I can dice crunch with the best
Oh,
of
I
them.
can make up stats all day long,
Yeah.
and I always get accused of doing so, but...
When you play with Mark, it's Mark rules. That's
Yeah.
what it is. But we will share every once in a while.
If there's something
still part-
particularly good. Yeah, it's still part of the hobby, part of the game, part of the universe, but...
We'll share some exciting news when it comes out. Obviously, with 8th coming out, there's going to be a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
That'll be pretty fresh, so we don't want to ignore that.
Yeah.
Primaris
Marines.
Oh my gosh. Had to make them bigger. So
No, they were always that size.
Sorry.
But
we had to release them bigger.
Yes, there you go. Yeah.
We do play weekly. We try to, at least. And every once in a while, we're going to get a crazy moment that we'll want to share with you guys about a dice roll that should never have happened and for some reason did.
Yeah.
It's always fun to share those moments.
Yeah. You know, you got to go sacrifice some goats in your basement to get those sixes.
The dice gods, yeah.
If you want to win a game, that's the only way how. It's not learning the rules. It's...
No, it's playing by Mark rules and sacrificing goats. Yeah. And then another part that we actually want to get, we probably actually want to pump this one up a lot, is if there's anyone who has questions, like that would be a really cool thing. We have an email set up called it's at abg40k@gmail.com. That's abg40k@gmail.com. And if you guys have any questions, like that's awesome. Like we'd love to like address anything you have.
Or even if we miss something and you just want to add in
or if
your
we're
thought,
wrong.
Or even if we're wrong, whatever.
It's possible that we're wrong. We're not perfect.
We'll try to fit in brief little blurbs and try to get you guys involved, because part of the big thing about 40K is just the community, and I know I've made and kept a lot of friends just because of 40K. So let's make some more.
Yeah,
I just got an awkward look.
Well,
don't make eye contact with Mark when he's talking about friendship.
It's awkward because one time he advertised himself. He said, "I want on Kijiji." Let's be fair.
Let's also be fair. It wasn't just one time.
Okay, multiple times. Mark has put an ad on Kijiji for friends to come over and play. And how many guys showed up expecting? How do I put
fellatio? Some would say.
He's also made a couple relationships he hasn't kept.
Yeah, I had a couple gay guys I've hung out with who were like,
did they actually play 40K?
No, they're just like, ooh, add on Kijiji for a cute guy. Oh, he has cats. I'm in.
Did you say I need a cute guy?
And how would they know that you're cute?
Well, you gotta pose next to your favorite model shirtless, like.
Oh, okay. Did you post a picture with your ad?
Yeah, because otherwise you don't get as many hits. So you gotta get those hits. Okay. So.
For those who don't know, Kijiji is like Craigslist. If you're listening, because I think it's only in Canada.
Yeah.
But it's like an online.
It's just
sale.
Exactly. Yeah, you just post what you want. People answer the ads. Yeah. So Mark's no longer allowed access to the internet for those purposes.
Yeah. Any page that's not Warhammer has been blocked.
So I think that concludes our introduction. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. We just want to share our knowledge, answer questions, make some friends,
and help grow the community.
Yeah. So don't forget, we have an email. Send us some questions.
ABG.
Are you going to finish that thought?
Don't remember. Yeah. ABG40k@gmail.com.
There you go.
All right, thanks.
I have no life, so I'll get back to you pretty quick if you email that. And then you'll never get rid of me.
All right, and I guess we'll see you on our next podcast.
All right, thanks for listening.
Peace.
Thanks everybody for listening. This is just an after show note that we have changed some of the details of the name of our show and our contact information since recording this particular episode. We do encourage and even sometimes enjoy your questions and comments, so you can follow us on Facebook at Lorehammer or on Twitter at Lorehammer40K. You can also email us at lorehammerpodcast@gmail.com. We'll see you all next episode.